Hi everyone. In this video, I will continue the topic floating rules. Okay, let's start. Uh, as I shown in my previous video that the floating rules, when we make any rule under floating tabs, it also filters in outbound direction. We can mention. So let's start. I'm showing you with these examples here. Okay, there was one rule for ICMP protocol. I have just deleted that rule and there is no rule for ICMP protocol here in the LAN tab, and I have also disabled this rule, that is cleanup rule. So let's make one rule here for ICMP protocol action pass, which has been allow, and choosing LAN interface direction in protocol ICMP type any, source LAN network, destination any, and name it allow ICMP requests and applying. So I made one rule here in on LAN interface tab that they like if ICMP request like coming entering LAN interface, allow it. Let's make one more rule. Now this time what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make one rule for ICMP protocol on WAN interface. So on WAN interface, the ICMP like request will leave the WAN interface because the traffic is initiating from virtual PC and going in this direction, going to Google, as you can see in the figure, and once it will reach there, it will leave the WAN interface. So once when I will make this when I will make this tool, I need to mention direction out, and I need to choose WAN interface. ICMP protocol here, type any, source LAN net, destination any, block ICMP request. I need to block this, not pass. Okay, let me change the order for this and save this and let me apply this. So now what will happen? So there is no rule for ICMP protocol here on LAN section. So as you know that in floating rules, like last rule always win. So it's mean that this rule will win. This will block the ICMP traffic. So but I want to tell you very important thing here. This rule will not work because I have mentioned wrong source address here. Let me show you example. Let me ping. You can see the request is going outside, and from where? From virtual PC. The reason is that the reason is like by default in the firewall network address translation is already enabled by default when you install fresh Pfsense firewall. It's clearly mentioned here on the Pfsense document. So it's mean that when I am pinging from virtual PC, the source address is this 10.0.0.5. Once it reaches the firewall will remove the address, this address, and put this address 192.168.1.100 and then leave the WAN interface. So WAN interface, when leaving the WAN interface, the rules on in this interface checking for this source address, but the source address is already removed and changed to this 192.168.1.100. So network address translation happens before leaving the WAN interface. So you have to mention source address this, not this. That's why the rule is not working. Rule is wrong. So need to change the here whether I mention WAN address like external like interface address external interface of firewall, or whether I mention any source any. So let's mention source any here. Now you know that this rule is last rule. It will win. The ping will not go outside. Now you can see. So this is very important thing. Many people get confused. They mention source. They mention LAN their internal network addresses in source. So definitely it will not work because network address association always happen before leaving the WAN interface. And by default, NAT is enabled. You can read this document. In the default single WAN connection configuration, Pfsense automatically generate NAT rules for every directly connected interface and any network reachable through internal gateway defined via static routes. Okay, let me show you the practical proof how by default NAT is happening. Let's start practical. Let me delete this first. Let me go ahead there and delete this rule. Let's make one rule for ICMP allow. Okay, now ICMP request can go outside. You can see. So let's see if the NAT is happening here or not. So I have not done anything with NAT also here. So whatever the NAT is, which is by default, no, not now the NAT is by default. Let's see here on the Wireshark start. So first thing you will notice that this ping requests, the firewall always ping its gateway continuously to check quality of network, and the size of the packet is very low, so it does not affect the network bandwidth. So I can filter this. Okay, let's start again the workshop and let's ping here from virtual machine. I'm pinging virtual machine from, let's open command and I'm ping my physical host address. Now see can replies coming from physical host, and now you can see here I stop the Wireshark and I will see here the ping request came to my physical machine host, and from where? From this address 192.168.1.100, which is WAN address of firewall. So I pinged from this machine, but I can see the reply is coming from this machine. So it's proof that the NAT is happening. So this is the example practical. And one thing more is that here the it filtered traffic from the firewall itself. It's mean that now just go to their virtual machine and let's delete this rule here and go to LAN and enable this rule. So now the request can go to 80, 53 and 443, and let's go to firewall here and again exit here. So let's me take the shell again by typing it, and if I will ping Google from firewall, you can see the reply is coming. So firewall we can ping from firewall. The firewall can ping outside, but here virtual machine cannot ping because there is no rule for ICMP here, and there is no rule in the floating tab. So I cannot ping from virtual machine. So firewall can ping. So what I am doing here, I am generating ICMP traffic from firewall. So if you want to block this ping from firewall also, then I have to make one rule here. here in floating tab. Go ahead here and block. Action is blocked. Interface WAN going out. Obvious. I need to mention direction out because traffic will leave the WAN interface and go out on internet. Protocol ICMP. Type any and source is WAN address. Definitely. Destination any and block ICMP request. Save it and apply it. Go to firewall again and you will see you cannot ping from firewall. You can see operation not permitted. So this is how you can filter the traffic from firewall itself as mentioned on the website. Okay, so now need to note here is that the by default NAT is enabled, and other things is that if the traffic is initiating from virtual PC which is going out to the internet, so for LAN the direction would be in because the traffic is entering the LAN, and for WAN direction would be out because the traffic will leave the WAN interface. And in reverse case, if the traffic is coming from internet, then the direction for WAN will be in because the traffic is coming from the internet and entering the WAN interface. And for LAN, the direction would be out because it's leaving the LAN interface and going to virtual PC. So this thing also need to be noted here. And further, nothing is required, only networking knowledge is required and protocols and their port number. So you will feel comfortable to make rules on any firewall. Thanks for watching this video.